Hi guys, welcome to Strength Reversed. My name is Amy. Today is another installment of Tarot Spiral, and today I'm talking about the Empress, card number 3. So the Empress, at first glance, seems very nurturing, very Mother Nature-y, very hippie granola, I would say. But this card it appears to me a little bit misleading because she is ruthless. She is a badass and you better watch out. There are some symbols in this card, of course. She is usually depicted pregnant because she represents creation and fertility. She is the divine mother and represents part of the divine feminine. And so you have the symbol of Venus, which is like woman. You have the agriculture, the grain that she controls. You have 12 stars in her crown, which I read symbolize the 12 signs of the zodiac. You have 9 pearls in her necklace, which I read symbolize possibly the 9 planets. I'm not really sure about Pluto's status anymore. I've quit trying to keep track. You have the river because all life flows from her. She rules over everything in our world, so she has a scepter. So she has a lot of power. She is card number 3 because we talked about the Fool kind of splitting into 2 dualities, the Magician and High Priestess. And out of the Magician and High Priestess, 1 plus 2, they combine to create something new. And that is what is brought into the physical world, the Empress, and everything that is her domain. In the Robin Wood deck, she has all of those symbols as well, but I love how she has this spinning wheel, like, you know, spinning your fate. She's responsible for all of the cycles. She is about fertility. I think there's usually a rabbit somewhere in this card, right? Can't see one. But she's about fertility. She's about creation. But when you have the responsibility for creation, she also has the privilege of being the destroyer. And of course, this is like the myth of the goddess Demeter, whose daughter Persephone was taken into the underworld, and so that caused her such great sadness that half of the year went without, and the other half of the year when she had her daughter, everything grew and, you know, creation was happy. This is Tarot of the Zircus Magi, and the Empress in this deck is the leading lady. She has the stars. She's kind of cloaked like a wild animal. But the show can't really happen without her. She is definitely the star of the show. She's the most important person in the show. And nothing happens without the leading lady. Besides being the creator, the destroyer, and the representation of, you know, our physical world, she is our physical world expressed. She keeps everything running. She's responsible for everything on the planet, basically, good and bad. And, you know, nature can be beautiful, like a butterfly, but can also be kind of hideous, like a worm or one of those weird fishes. But she's responsible for all of that, just like any mom. Okay, she's the mother. This is Tarot of the Weird. I wrote down some words that came up when I think of mom or mother, and these are the typical meanings of this card. Nurturing, comforting, the life giver, caregiver, the protector. She creates, when we're infants, our whole world. She's responsible for everything. And we need her for everything. But at the same time, she kind of lays down the law. You know, she's the first one who's gonna like flip out when you get out of line. It's like there's this ferociousness that moms have where they are extremely loving, but also extremely intense. Like the mom that the mother bird takes care of the baby bird, and she chews up the little worms for it and spits it down their throat, and will do that kind of nasty stuff to make their baby healthy and grow. But then she kicks their asses out of the nest and out of the tree. So it's like two sides. And the shadow side of the Empress, it might be reversed or it might just come up as a shadow for you, is mommy issues. Everything that, I guess all of those negative aspects that we put on a mom. Maybe someone who is a helicopter mom. Maybe they are just too controlling. They're so nurturing that they're smothering. Maybe it is someone who is, because the Empress is all about emotions, and she goes with her emotions. It's not rational thought. It's all passion. It can be sexual passion that creates life. It can be passion about your job or your hobby, and so you're creating something. It can be just a ferociousness or a protective kind of passion. But sometimes that can get out of balance, and you have someone who lets their emotions rule them, or who's just a little bit too much. Maybe that they are kind of a glutton for pleasure, because the Empress does like, you know, all things sensual, and maybe that gets out of whack. Or maybe those things are repressed, and she has repressed her emotions or has repressed her desires. And I think because the Empress is ruled by, this is the Mystical Cats Tarot. You see the mom, the baby cats. Oh, they're so cute. Because she's ruled by her emotions, and she has so much power, and it's nothing that's controllable. This is why this energy, the Empress energy, has been squashed by religion and by, you know, patriarchal society, because it's scary, right? The Empress can get scary. This is Empress energy to me. You know, a wild animal I would not want to cross is one that's hungry and one that is a mom with its babies. I used to be scared of big dogs and I was just uncomfortable. I'm not a dog person to begin with, but I do love little dogs and dachshunds. But I'm uncomfortable around big dogs, especially when the owner is not trained and does not have their dog on a leash. And when I had my son and I would take him out in his stroller for a walk, I would think about, of course, every possible scenario. And I thought, what if some dog or some wild animal attacks my son? What would I do? And I quit being scared of big dogs, because I knew that if any creature attacked my child, be it man or beast, I would kill them with my bare hands. And I could do that, and I knew that like to the core of my being. There's not even a question. There's only one way that's going to go down, and that's with me handing your ass to you. So I quit being scared of dogs after that. That's the level of passion and ferocity that comes with nurturing something that you have created. I have created life. I'm all powerful. Or maybe I have delusions of grandeur. I don't know. So as I did a little more research, of course, I read 78 Degrees of Wisdom by Rachel Pollack. She had some interesting information about the relationship between the Empress and some other cards. First of all, the card that precedes the Empress, the High Priestess. The High Priestess is her advisor. And together we have the Divine Mother aspect of the feminine, and this is kind of the more symbolic aspect of the feminine. Together they make a complete picture of the Divine Feminine. So the High Priestess, of course, is all about going inside and intuition, and the Empress is in touch with her emotions, and that's what advises her. She is only ruled by herself. She doesn't look to any outside source for approval. And then we have the next card, number 4, the Emperor. In my mind, these are not related in the same way as the Magician and High Priestess, where they're kind of mirror images of each other. These are a little different. The Empress really is in charge of everything. It is her will that is running the world. It's her law, and he is the enforcer of her will and her law. Even though he's, the Divine Father, it's not a mirror image exactly the way I see it. Then we have this run of 3 cards, 3, 4, and 5, where we add the Hierophant. And after the Fool splits off into this duality of the Magician and High Priestess that is contained in everyone, these 3 cards really are dealing with the physical, mundane world that we live in. Maybe not mundane, but it's the physical world and our relationship to it. And Rachel Pollack describes these cards as a triad, where we have nature, society, and church, or we have mother, father, and education, which I thought was really interesting. So she's the principal player in all of this, and these 2 cards are described as her consorts. Okay, that was a lot, but thanks for joining me for the Empress. So as usual in the comments, let me know what you think of the Empress. Do you see her the way I do? Do you see anything that I missed? Do you see her totally differently? And include some shadow aspects too, because I know she's the creator, she's a nurturer, but sometimes if things get out of whack, she can be nurturing anyone but herself, or she could get a little too destructive. Okay, thanks guys.